A bachelor's of the arts degree in creative writing,
Right.
and that's when I really started on this album. I started writing bits and bobs and submitted some lyrics as part of my degree.
So that's actually been quite a long process then. When was that, 2000 and?
Yeah, so since let's say about 2017, I've been writing this album, I would say.
Right. That's great. Yeah, so how did the writing come about? So you say you started it back then when you were in university. Is it something that's kind of you've really tunnel visioned, or is it something that you've picked up every now and again and gone back to? Has it just only kind of built momentum now? What's the journey?
So I've always been in love with hip hop music since a very, very young age. My brothers listened to hip hop in the house, Tupac and Biggie and NWA. So that has always been there. I really wanted to be a singer when I was younger, but my voice broke and I was left for a very middling voice that really wasn't good enough to be a singer. But I really was just really rapping just for myself and just interested in that. And then when I became homeless, I got an opportunity to go to the Royal Opera House for a London 2012 Olympic event, which was about homelessness, and performed. I decided to try out whether I could perform rap in public, and I decided of all places to do it at the Royal Opera House. But from there, I've just been doing it, writing songs. Never been able to really have the opportunity to record an album before, but when I got my Arts Council funding, that's when it took off.
Yeah, I mean, just before we start talking about the Arts Council funding and how it was made possible, shall we have a listen maybe to one of my favourite songs, if you don't mind, Parasol? Just give us a little insight into what is it about, so people can kind of latch into the lyrics, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so it's a modular thing. I mean, you and I have been around the art scene for a while, haven't we, Sam?
Yeah.
We know on just an ordinary level, when you go to events, there's people who, if you don't, they feel like you have nothing to offer, or you're not connected, they just blank you and don't want to speak to you at all.
Yeah.
And then there's just the fact, as a working class artist, the barriers into getting into the performing arts in any way, shape or form, there's so many barriers there, from just being able to fund yourself, fund work, not knowing people, not being that connected to say, oh, you know, I've got an age, my parents know agents, or they know producers, or they know this. So those are networks that you have to build yourself from scratch. And so Parasol is really a bit of a fingers up to that, those bureaucratic barriers and the gatekeepers. So I'll shall we have a listen?
Yes, let's share the screen and have a listen.
Share sound. Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. So this is Parasol.
These odds motherfuckers run around like they emphasize. Whispers in the court trying to catch the king's eye. Eyes by jokers, jesters everywhere. Who wears the best wig? Is yours made of horse hair? Watching on the gear, better beat the bourgeois. No, I can't sit, not with this stick up a hoo-ha. If you're lower rank, back up, I can shake your hand. Have you seen my work? I'm the talk of the land. Honey, I had a stage hit 10 years ago. That's why this crown on my head, give my dick a blow. Watch your head a hit too, let me lick your ass. A circle jerk of praise, though our work is trash. What the fuck, all you buck two fuckers got no style. I'm not into that click, sucking dick for some profile. No talent don't come in syringe. They don't know what art is, only thoughts in a cartridge. I'll slice you with my fan, bitch. I'll stick you with my parasol. Slice you with my fan, bitch. I'll stick you with my parasol. Step to me, fucker, when you're dining on your daddy's fame. You bought awards and you're riding on your family name. This scene is incest, who knows who? Cocksucker, check your mouth, we can see the residue. You're here by birthright, or worse by birthplace. Turn your nose back down, learn to earn your fucking space. You court here's were brought here, money under tables. I'd rather keep my pride, shoving shit in the stables. You bring the arts down, your airs is misplaced. The bass in the stage with slow pace and bad taste. All safe choices, minorities exploited. We can't get a foot in, yet you use our voices. Man, are you delusional? That is irrefutable. 12 years a slave, you make the fucking music. Which novel to adapt next? Pouring us to tears. It's all watered down, it's been like this for years. I'll slice you with my fan, bitch. I'll stick you with my parasol. Slice you with my fan, bitch. I'll stick you with my parasol. Pull out your windpipe, shit down your throat. Take the corpse to the river, use your body as a float. Is that too violent? Did I go too far? Artistic scandal, call it transgressive art. Pretend to be offended, pretend to be appalled. But if the price tag was large, you would hang it on your wall. Slice you with my fan, bitch. I'll stick you with my parasol. You local rappers, bitches hear this. Keep the gaze off your mouth and the trends off your lips. I ain't playing motherfuckers, I'm not to mess with. Just saying motherfuckers don't want to test this. I have you on your knees, praying to the pastor. I'll show you who's street, I'll show you who's gangster. Down drops the guillotine, slice through your spine. As the blade hits your neck, you wish you never crossed the line. I'll slice you with my fan, bitch. I'll stick you with my parasol. Slice you with my fan, bitch. I'll stick you with my parasol. They used to look down if you worked on the stage. Now you need a title just to read from the page. Every play in the north made in fucking London. Every art CEO comes from fucking London. Every check made to friends down in fucking London. Recycled remakes, fucking redundant. You can clutch your pearls as you drink that fizz. Your nepotism stagnant, champagne piss.
So that was Parasol.
Amazing. I'm probably speaking for everyone watching this now, because you're all probably involved in the art world. We've all seen it, you know. There's so much brown nosing, and it's such a shallow industry as well. Do you know what I mean? So it's so relatable, that, to me. How was the experience of recording this album when it was all COVID and, you know, you're during a pandemic? And I don't think you had much experience of being a recording artist before. How was this going through it solo, basically?
Well, yeah. So I got the Arts Council funding, which obviously that was the key piece to getting this done. The Arts Council provides working class artists with the funding to be able to do this type of work. So I'm really grateful to Arts Council North and to Arts Council England for funding it, and National Lottery. So yeah, recording it, I just was a little bit naive, I think, going in, just thinking I'd picked out my producers, two really amazing American producers, Diamond Style Productions, who have worked with Snoop Dogg, and Tariq Beats, who have done beats for like Vogue and all sorts of advertisements, Adidas and car adverts and that kind of stuff. Yeah. And then I wrote to a multi-platinum producer called Stephen Miglior, Mr. Mig, who has worked with Beyonce, Madonna, Taylor Swift. And just
they've done all right for themselves, haven't they?
Yeah, they've done pretty well for themselves.
Yeah.
He did Taylor Swift's demo when she was first starting out. So I just wrote to him and said, I noticed that it wasn't that expensive to actually per track to mix and master them. So I just wrote to him and said, this is my project. This is what I'm planning to do. I'm trying to get Arts Council funding. Do you think that you could do this, and what would you be charging? And he jumped on board, and really he's the one who got it polished up to this sort of how it sounds now.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. It sounds like, such high quality. Yeah, like it's had a big budget.
Yeah, so I really recorded this in my back room and didn't have a clue what I was doing, didn't understand what was going on with the signals going in and out, and couldn't figure out how to stop the delays. So it was a learning curve for me just to master the sort of recording side of things, and it was really frustrating to also because it's just not, I'm in a flat, so the sounds and stuff, it was quite hard, but it just seemed like a miracle to get it done, and really had everything interfering, pigeons outside, traffic.
Yeah, I don't know if Beyonce's have to deal with that.
Probably not. I'm not sure she's had a seagull come and sit on the windowsill and chime in, but
yeah, so everyone, that was Parasol, which I love that track from the album, and as you said, it wouldn't be made possible without the Arts Council funding. And I just love that part of the song where you're talking about London and how everything happens in London, and how kind of, as a creative, you don't feel like you're taken seriously outside of London. Do you know what I mean? But for people like you who are creating and feel somewhat marginalized by the fact that they're not down south and they are not in the thick of it, it just shows you that there is funding pots available and resources that can be used. You mentioned Arts Council North. Is that a different section?
Yes, so there's a division who cater to the north of the country, and that is invaluable because there's just not that amount of funding that you have in London. Those pots are few and far between in the northwest. And I was lucky that I'd done stuff in the past and had built stuff with working with Arts Group E, so that I could sort of evidence that when I was approaching the Arts Council.
Yeah.
But for people who maybe don't have that and don't have that, they that experience, there is also developing your creative practice grants, which is basically practice as research, which is another way in. So again, Arts Council is really providing great inroads for low-income artists.
Definitely. And kind of while we're on the subject of money and how important it is to making life a bit easier, can we go on to talk about the next song we're gonna feature, which is Hostel, Do Not Resuscitate? Can you just give us a little bit of an insight into where that song comes from and how much of a undercurrent it has throughout the album as well?
Yeah, so I'd been living abroad. I have Dutch family and had been living abroad and come back, was trying to settle back into the UK, was working in a factory, was only young, 19, trying to get myself on my feet, was working as a cleaner and got bullied out for being gay. And at the time I didn't know, all the protections that were there. If I was smarter now, I'd have sued them to death, but I wasn't that aware of what protections were there for me. So got bullied out of that job and really found myself in a pickle because my parents were living in Ireland in the middle of nowhere where there was no prospects really for me to do anything, really living really rurally. So that would have been a really dead-end road for me. And my siblings were starting new families at the time, so they couldn't take someone in, being low income themselves, they couldn't have an extra person on their plate. So the only option for me really was to go into hostel. So I declared myself homeless at with the council. And what happens is when you first declare yourself statutory homeless, I mean, if you're 16 to 25, that's great because the council has some responsibility to take care of you then if you have nowhere else to go. But if you are over 25 and you're waiting on the social housing list, which can be very, very long, that the risk of you actually being street homeless is much higher. So when you first present, they just stick you in accommodation with loads of other people, and we've been talking about people from really, really hard backgrounds. So people where families, there's been drugs involved, abuse, all kinds of really complex mental health issues, and they stick you all together. And what happened is I was I was sent over to Beckenhead to this hostel, and it was a high-rise block of flats because they were renovating the usual hostel. So they just taken over these block of flats that were due for demolition, and they just threw us in. They were staffed underneath, but above you couldn't really. The staff couldn't tell what was going on the floors above. There was people ODing on medication. There was drug deals going on, people climbing in through the windows to do all sorts of kind of things. Like had my door bashed in and all my stuff stolen. It was a hard, really hard experience to go through. But
at such a young age as well.
Yeah, but the thing is though, because I was I wasn't not educated or anything, so that was on my side, and they sort of moved me into a better place then. But what's sad is, for those other people who had an even rougher, I mean, I had a really rough time of it as a kid, but we're talking really rough, some of these kids. And I feel kind of guilty that, I sort of made it out of that situation, and some of them didn't.
Yeah. Well, with that, let's have a listen to Hostel, Do Not Resuscitate. And everyone has such great context now to really have a good listen. Thank you very much. This is The Hostel.
I'm condemned, all my energy is spent. It's the stump, it's the stub, it's the bottom of the cup. It's cement, so I'm stuck, no more feathers left to pluck. Crawling on my knees, begging God's in a shout. Scratching, clawing at the walls, trying to find my way out. I'm reaching, trying to get up out of here. If I should close my eyes and my heart be flatlined. Don't resuscitate me. If I should close my eyes and my heart be flatlined. Don't resuscitate me. If I should close my eyes and my heart be flatlined. Don't resuscitate me. If I should close my eyes and my heart be flatlined. Don't resuscitate me. Grasping at the tatters of what's left of my life. I've been climbing with no ladders and no ledges in sight. In my tragic desperation, searching cracks for some light. My existence just a clog clustered in an endless waste pipe. The people at the top so detached from reality, stuck in a bubble of money-making mentality. Scraping my coppers together just to buy bread. My welfare sanctioned like it's pocket money. I've been left for dead. It's the end, to the bottom I descend. Am I dead? I'm condemned. All my energy is spent. It's the storm, it's the stub, it's the bottom of the cup. It's cement, so I'm stuck, no more feathers left to pluck. Crawling on my knees, begging God's in a shout. Scratching, clawing at the walls, trying to find my way out. I'm reaching, trying to get up out of here. If I should close my eyes and my heart be flatlined. Don't resuscitate me. If I should close my eyes and my heart be flatlined. Don't resuscitate me. If I should close my eyes and my heart be flatlined. Don't resuscitate me. If I should close my eyes and my heart be flatlined. Don't resuscitate me. Donations on my savior, haven't eaten for days. And a visit from the bailiff is a frequent display. Every day is purgatory, living in fear. So I barricade my door in case the loan sharks appear. Hanging from the windowsill, the traffic below. Which pain will be much worse if I were just to let go. Precarious crushed by the weight from above. And the working class is teetering with threats of a shove. This is it, it's the end, to the lowest I descend. Am I dead? I'm condemned, all my energy is spent. It's the stump, it's the stub, it's the bottom of the cup. It's cement, so I'm stuck, no more feathers left to plug. Crawling on my knees, begging God's in a shout. Bloody fingernails as I scratch and claw my way out. I'm reaching, trying to get up out of here. If I should close my eyes and my heart be flatlined. Don't resuscitate me. If I should close my eyes and my heart be flatlined. Don't resuscitate me. If I should close my eyes and my heart be flatlined. Don't resuscitate me. If I should close my eyes I dead, I'm condemned, all my energy is spent. It's a storm, it's a stub, it's the bottom of the cup. It's a mess, I'm stuck, no more fellas left to plug. There's a demon on my back, but I'm putting up a fight. I'm a vine in the shadow that is stretching for the light. I'm reaching, trying to get up out of here.
So that was the Hostel DNR.
Amazing, amazing. I think it really comes across like how horribly desperate you must have been at that time and rock bottom. It's just such an inspiring story when you know it, you know, and then you hear the songs. It's like, so that's where you're literally at the bottom, you're in the gutter, and now you've gone through this whole journey, and the whole album it's really shows that, you know what I mean? It really shows the dark times and the hope that you always had to strive for better and want more for yourself. You did mention earlier about how being homeless affected your mental health, and kind of you have struggled with that since. There's two other songs that I kind of want to link in after Hostel Do Not Resuscitate, which are Sleep Paralysis, that's one song, and there's another song called Daydream. Now, I just kind of link these together mentally because to me, being asleep and being in a dreamlike state is an escape from reality. Obviously, sleep paralysis isn't a nice escape from reality. It's a suffocating feeling. But then when I heard Daydream, it was like full of hope and how you use daydreaming to escape reality in a positive way. Were those two songs linked for you, or?
Well, originally, it's interesting you say the links, because they were originally meant to be I was going to have them as one song. They've sort of flowed into each other, but I liked both tracks so much that I had them separately. Decided to keep them separate. So I don't know if anyone's ever suffered from sleep paralysis, but it's that feeling when you wake up and you're frozen, you can't move. And sometimes when you're in that state between being asleep and being awake, where you're aware of the room, you can see it, but your mind hasn't quite caught up. You can see things, sometimes paranormal things, quite common things to see an old woman attacking you, or some sort of creature sitting on your chest, or so after going through that homeless period, I had sleep paralysis constantly, quite a lot, and was told by a doctor that it was linked to the depression. So I decided to incorporate that on the album. And really my way of getting through that was, you know, what we've talked about, you know, being able to write songs is a really amazing tool, I think, to, you know, escape from your how you're feeling. Yeah. And being able to listen to music and just go to a different place for a moment, you know, that was invaluable to me during my whole time at the hostel, and that's how I stay sane. And just afterwards, you know, working through my feelings to be able to write, create, that was really important.
Yeah. Can we have a listen to Sleep Paralysis?
We certainly can. So I'm not going to play both songs all the way through because I'm just conscious of time, but these are two snippets of the songs.
Lovely to show the difference between them. And can we share the screen for that one?
Oh yeah, sorry, completely forgot about that.
That's okay.
That's
You've seen it before.
Here we go.
So this is Sleep Paralysis.
Ghost from the past, rocking my throat on my rasp. Lungs full of smoke and I gas. Who's up the goat on my gas? Pillows are soaked with my sweat. Peripheral dark silhouettes of memories I can forget. Persistent and will not relent. I cannot move in my bed. I feel the darkness descend. I feel its clothes on my foot. Iris is black as a rook. Slowly it sits on my chest. Coax in my fear to digest. Doctor says PTSD. My conscience is coming to test me. Something is wrong with my heart. It's beating, it stops and it starts. It's sleeping, the shadows come creeping. Reaper appears from the dark. He did not come with this sight. He shimmer even at night. He watches me sleep and speaks only whispers to fill me with fright. He stays with me to the dawn, playing the harp with his horns. He's not the worst to attend. He has the scarier friends. And as he leaves me there weeping, out of the gloom it comes creeping. I hear the harsh heavy breathing. Out of the dark it comes gleaming. Enter the monster. Enter the monster. Enter the monster. It sees me. I see you. I see you. I see you. I see you. You must have heard of the hag. Grown with the light for your sad.
So that was sleep paralysis, and I'll just play Daydream as well, which is the sort of.
It's kind of like, for me, it's almost like an opposite, because sleep paralysis, it's almost like it's showing your journey of fighting your demons off. And it's like, for me, Daydream is a little bit further into your own journey of like owning your own mental health and you know, manifesting all these good things. So yeah, please.
Absolutely.
Daydream.
When I feel the need to scream, I slip into a daydream. Fucking fantastic. Fucking fantastic. Fucking fantastic. Fucking fantastic. Can't nobody touch me here. Can't nobody touch me here. Can't nobody touch me here. Can nobody touch me? Blessed is the one who can summon up worlds with a pen. Lay down the ink and begin. I'm on the brink of creation, drinking up the colors within. My mind is full to the brim, and this is my secret garden. A new secret started from this earth of far departed. Breaking with the stellars and the argos, breaking with the empty hearts made of charcoal. And here they can't touch me. And here they can't judge me. When I feel the need to scream, I slip into a daydream. Fucking fantastic. Fucking fantastic. Fucking fantastic. Fucking fantastic. Can't nobody touch me here. Nobody touch me here.
Amazing. I think that we all need to have that mantra, fucking fantastic, about everything. We've had just like the maddest year going. So for anyone who has never struggled with mental health problems before, they've probably definitely been personally affected by it or had to like help somebody who has been. And I think that thing of like, knowing that you are fucking fantastic no matter what shit's going on, that's a really strong, important message to be given. It doesn't matter what shit the world's giving you, you just got to tell yourself that everything's fucking fantastic, and it will be glass half full. I love it. So that kind of leads me on to, after you were homeless and you were so affected by it, and seeing from the inside out how bad it was for people trying to actually get out of it and get a job, and you know, did that inspire you then to go and work within charities and homeless charities and kind of make your difference there?
Absolutely. So you know, the problem with being in a hostel as well is just the bureaucratic nature of everything, the bureaucratic barriers. You know, we were talking about just trying to get into the arts, that's one thing, but that applies to every aspect of life. There's just, if you're from the, you know, lowest economic, you know, if you're low income, you know, that those barriers are there. prevent you from getting ahead. So while I was in the hostel, they sort of said to me, don't get a job because we'll put the rent up and you'll be homeless. And then with all the stuff that was going on in the hostel, sometimes there was people breaking in through the door. Sometimes there was drug deals going on. I had to call the ambulance for a girl who was ODing. I had to call an ambulance for a girl who was being assaulted in the room next door. When I would go to the job centre then, and you think, oh, the job centre, they're there to help you get a job. Oh, no. They're there to judge you on whether you found a job. And so I often would get sanctioned because I hadn't done the amount of job search that they wanted. And
so just for the people at home or anyone watching, what does that actually mean when you get sanctioned? What is that in real
terms? So they just cut your money off. Basically, they say you are not getting any money for the next 2 weeks or maybe longer, and that means that you're not getting you've got no way of getting any food. So for me, that meant if I was sanctioned, that meant not eating for 2 weeks. Because I didn't have any money to buy anything, and so relying off donations that were from Sainsbury's, which was often like things like cans and bread and stuff. And when you're sort of living off stale bread for several days, I'm quite a chunky lad now. Love my food, but at the time, I weigh about 14 and a half stone now. At the time I weighed 9 stone at 6 foot.
Oh my God.
So I was really quite I was very, very skinny, very, very underweight,
which again feeds into the whole system and the way it fails you, because you're walking around with no energy, you've got no money to get to any interviews. If you had any interviews, you've got no energy to actually perform an interview with anyone. That's just
it's like things like I actually got an interview and I had this old battered pair of shoes and the soles were coming away, and I had to walk into the interview with those shoes on, and I felt so ashamed. So I'm walking in, and they actually, when they called me, they actually said the way I was dressed was the reason I didn't get the interview, which is totally not I'm sure it's not legal to actually say that to you, but I was utterly ashamed. And it's those things, it's unbelievable. Since then, I just thought every opportunity I got to sort of campaign for bettering the lives of people who are struggling, I tried, and currently I'm working at Irish Community Care, and that work really matters.
It's making a difference, isn't it?
Yeah, and I know then I'm doing my part to help people who, because I didn't know where to go or who to see or where to go, and so knowing that someone can reach me and say, what do I do, and I can say, listen, this is what you do. That means a lot to me. Definitely.
And I think, all those things we've just spoken about are just one layer of the big crappy onion of the failings of our government and for the last 10-15 years. So with that being said, I would love if we could preview a little bit angry. I think everyone will relate to that song.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Just share screen.
Yeah.
This is a little bit angry.
Thank you.
Piggies always skipping to the market, and even when they tank it, we still rolling out for carpets. Then there's always money to be pulling out of asses. God, we got the workers to be picking up the charges. Drenched aristocracies determine your success. Drenched in inequality, the rest do their best. Oppressing our mobility, so how do we progress? Success is no civility, our efforts are suppressed. Take it to the trough where the tops are grazing. You can hear the quaffs of the greedy thinking. Any hawk that went to eating gets the keys to number 10. And when they ruin everything, we'll vote them in again. It must be the immigrants, it must be the poor, it must be the travelers who live in grandeur. It can't be the nepotists, it can't be the mega rich. Must be the pennies that we're spending out in benefits. Or if we the piggies, then the luck will transmit. Lucky sparrows are permitted to be sifted through their shit. We're not a Kardashians, some fucker on TV, spending cash in abundance at the cost of you and me. I think I'm a little bit angry. I think a little bit vexed, but I think I'm a little bit miffed, yo. Fuck all you fuckers, you all make me sick. Cynical I am, but the world is pretty fucked. Walking around like we're peacocks, but we're chickens and we're plucked. We're burning through our resources and guess we're out of luck. Self-destruction on the timeline and our time is nearly up. Only Tory voters flush our future down the sink. The skin of all minorities, you wear it like it's mink. You better think twice, voting Tory for a tax break. They don't give a fuck about you, bunch of fucking fat snakes. Fuck all the bankers, fuck all your wealth. Fuck Tory backers, fuck you to hell. Fuck all the bankers, fuck all your wealth. Fuck Tory backers, fuck you to hell. Fuck New Labour, every one of you are pricks. Fuck the royal family, they can suck a dick. Fuck the House of Commons, bunch of bastards getting rich. They came to God, fuck you, I was like the fucking wick. I think I'm a little bit angry. I think I'm a little bit vexed.
Just conscious of time, so I'll just
Sorry, I was really enjoying that. Yes, I am also conscious of time. Love that song. I love the fact that it's 2 fingers up to the man and everything that we
to the man.
Yes, everything that we hate about the man. But because I am conscious of time, I'd love to talk about that song some more. But we can at the end, if anyone has any questions, by the way, you can type them out in the chat, and at the end we'll try and do some. And if you can't stay around, you are free to go. But yeah, Q&A afterwards if you want. With that being said, you have made your first music video.
I have indeed.
And I've already seen it, and it's amazing. Can we please preview that now? And then we will talk about it afterwards, if that's okay.
That sounds great. Yeah.
Let's do that. Everyone, this is Eggplant.
It's super camp, just warn you up front, but that's what it is.
Exactly. And this is the thing that I love about the album is, all the songs are so different. I want you to make a video to every single one of them because I'm just so excited to see what's going to come. But yeah, everyone, this is Eggplant. Please enjoy. John, I know you will.
So this is Eggplant.
Confess to being sex obsessed, perplexed by this retrogression. Success can be limited to how your muscles can flex. So if my beauty's contested, then I'll exhibit my hustle with testing through my rebuttal that I'm a sexual conquest. What I gotta do to be a motherfucking star? Peacock and a cockatoo will bring it to you hard. Sell myself a ham hock, meet on the butcher's block. These games are like guitars, play the string to make it far. It's the standard topic, standard proposition. We've been preconditioned to accept it. I'm conflicted and I contradict myself on this track, serving it up like a snack. There's no doubt about it, see all we think about is eggplant, eggplant, eggplant. All we think about is eggplant, eggplant. There's no doubt about it, see all we think about is dick. All of these fellas, they get obsessive with me, trying to impress and take possession of me. He says he want between my legs, he wanting to undress me. Bitch, return that shit to sender, you do not address me. Just to prove I'm that bitch, I've blown it out like a winner. Begin to auction my sins off, I'll pitch myself an escort. They gon' want me for dinner, I'll wear my jock with my Timbs. Step beside her with my key, I'm in that squad like Little Kim. Haunting you like Eros, in the heart I get endorsed. All these guys, they call me Xerox when I'm printing in them shorts. Taunting them, believe them, wanting more of me, of course. There's no doubt about it, see all we think about is if I said I'm stocky, would you still find me appealing? If I train like Rocky, would that mean I find you kneeling? People say I'm cocky, I'm just reaching for the ceiling. Don't wanna know about my degree, he need a blow, I need a retweet. There's no doubt about it, see all we think about is eggplant, eggplant, eggplant. All we think about is eggplant, eggplant. There's no doubt about it, see all we wanna do better, I better take off the sweater, then spread my legs for your pleasure, so I can bring home the cheddar. Kiss it, spit, do the splits on your faces where I sit. All to be a gay baiting bitch like Taylor Swift. I'm just a product on lease, I'm just a dog on a leash. I'll take my fat off the listing, you'll say I'm brave for existing. Better filter please, I don't wanna look like me. You can take my picture, I'll bend over, give you something to eat. There's no doubt about it, see all we think about is eggplant, eggplant, eggplant. All we think about is eggplant, eggplant. There's no doubt about it, see all we think about is dick. All we think about is dick.
Amazing. So I feel like watching that video, I can almost like see some of your influences. But yeah, can you talk a bit about who your musical influences are? Oh, there she is.
There she is. That's little Kim. So I grew up it was about 96. My brother brought home this this tape of Tupac, and I really fell in love with Dr. Dre's beats on the album All Eyes on Me. Just the atmosphere, the what they were doing with language and rhyme was just really inspiring, and stuck with me. Obviously, as I got older, you know, being a gay person, all my life, women have always been the ones who have accepted me first, who have sort of helped me up and supported me. So I gravitate towards women naturally, I think, for support. And so I've always been inspired by female rappers like Little Kim. So Little Kim was a protege of the rapper Notorious B.I.G. And at the time that Little Kim came out in about 97, females before that had always worn always been sort of masculine, sort of wearing baggy clothes and playing it up to try and be taken seriously. They had to sort of hide their femininity.
Yeah.
And along comes Little Kim, who flaunted that femininity and really took control of her sexuality.
Yeah.
And talked about sex in the way that men talked about sex. And instead, instead of her being the object of that pleasure, she demanded the pleasure instead. And you can see the influence she's had just by, you know, recently at Christmas when we had WAP, that very, very explicit song by Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, how far that influence has actually gone from Little Kim. So she's thing. So I wanted to pay homage to her on the album. Yeah, so Eggplant.
A bit different from the homelessness
Very,
vibe. And yeah, I didn't know you could make that sexy.
yeah, that's the thing. See, because what it is, you know, I couldn't help noticing that every thing that has sort of gay people in it on TV, it's always got like sex scenes and that. And, you know, I'm no prude. I get sex has its place in art, but I just feel like there's always this pressure to be gratuitous and have sex involved somewhere. And even when I was selling this album, I found myself being a little bit of a hypocrite, because I thought, you know, how am I going to sell homelessness in a way that is going to attract people? You know, as a gay artist, it's going to be even harder to sort of get people to take me seriously. So I really need to aim myself at a gay audience if I'm going to be taken seriously, I thought. I thought, no, I'll just tackle it on the album. And the song, it really does just talk about, you know, it's this duality, you know.
Definitely.
You have to be sexy, you have to sort of sell yourself in a way that is appealing in that way, I feel, especially if you're a woman, and I feel even as a gay person, you know, to attract attention in that way, you have to present yourself. There's a pressure to be hot And that's not necessarily something I feel about myself. But I thought if I'm going to do it,
and all the joggies.
Exactly. But I thought if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go for it, and I'm really going to express myself the way I want to express myself. And
Yeah, I think that really comes across as well, you know, the kind of duality in it. It's like no one wants to feel like they've bought into that. Do you know what I mean? No one wants to put their hand on the heart and go, actually, yeah, I want to be sexy. Everyone does. Everyone wants to be sexy. Otherwise people wouldn't be contouring their face, you know. So yeah, I love that video. You must have just felt like, God, I've made it. I've got seven costume changes. Did you have a lot of fun doing the film? Who did your videography?
So it was Andrew A.B., who we've worked with Arts Groupie before. He did, we worked with you, Sam, when we did the poster for Weave. Yeah. When we were stood on a ladder tugging on your hair for the poster. He's just fantastic. He knew what I was getting at, and we had a really good time making the video. It's very hard to be sexy when you're on a rickety table that's wobbling and feels like it's going to collapse under your weight, because especially when you're big like me and it's going and then trying to keep and just generally trying to be sexy when you're trying to be sexy.
When someone says be sexy, it's like when someone says be funny, you're funny. It's like, I'm not funny, I'm not sexy. Yeah, well, you didn't look like you were struggling to be sexy. I mean, you looked like the sexiest man I've seen on a table, I'll be honest. Sure everyone will agree with me there. Just because we are conscious of time, we'll move on from Eggplant, but I'm sure everyone will agree, very, very enjoyable to watch. Love the song. Moving on to the last, sadly, the last song that we're gonna preview. I'm really sorry, guys. My cat's trying to get into my bedroom. You can't get the staff, one sec. Okay, she's in. Never work with cats or children. Yes, let's go to the last track and start talking about this one, which is called No Fools in Liverpool. Can you tell me a little bit about that song and what it means to you, how it came about?
Yeah, so there was a famous writer and philosopher called Carl Jung who wrote about Liverpool, and he called it the Pool of Life, and that was based on a dream that he had. He never visited Liverpool in his life, and had a dream about Liverpool, that he was standing in a square full of lights under a magnolia tree, and he was in this amazing, vibrant city, and that I feel, all my family are from Liverpool. I'm the only one in my family to be born outside of the Northwest. I was born in Surrey, but I still have this really deep connection with Liverpool. And I think you have to be here living in the city to understand the magic that Liverpool actually has.
Yeah.
And so this is my love letter to Liverpool.
Oh, lovely.
So let's share screen.
Yeah, so it's called No Fools in Liverpool.
Oh, and get rid of that face.
Sexy boy.
And this is the last one.
No
Oh, just turn it up. Just one moment, sorry.
That's okay, don't worry. So No Fools in Liverpool, there we go. Nice little skyline.
Welcome to the pool of life. We seep into your dreams like your car young. These streets are filled with sharp tongues, witty words from bard's flung. A scar song, bring back the school of language, music, dream and fun. It happened here before it happened anywhere. When it happens here, it starts to happen everywhere. All men debonair, ladies with their hair done. Hear the sun, skin on show, head spun. Voices from the sea, drifting through the city streets. People of the Mersey, the heart that makes the city beat. Keep it London, you couldn't pay me to go. I'd rather eat raw onion and chew on it slow. Liverpool's resilience, beautiful and brilliant. Check your history, death and victory, poverty and pain. We rise above it all. We'll still be here till the lava birds fall. Ain't no fools up here in Liverpool. Merseyside forever, let the river lead the way. The river's in our blood till the river dries away, and we flow with the water till our goals are obtained. Ain't no fools up here in Liverpool. Popping in your dreams in a vivid array. When I look to my future, the city's where I stay. I'm a dandelion in the wind, blow me away. It's only Confronting Ginsberg, it must be the air. The city never leaves you, it's a lifetime affair. We don't care about your lifestyle or what you wear. Meet your destiny, find your dreams, seek your thoroughfare. Anything can be in the free borough by the sea. Beacons of light under magnolia tree. After death in the city, you will still feel me. Scatter my ashes at the live building, I'll be free. The library filled with stories of our lives gone by. If I die in the city, then my soul's on high. Though they drive, they can never break us, we defy. All my scouts ride with me and just in the sky. Liverpool's be witchery, build the electricity. Check your history, death the victory. Poverty and pain, we rise above it all. We'll still be here until the lava birds fall. Ain't no fools up here in Liverpool. Merseyside forever, let the river lead the way. The river's in our blood, so the river dries away. And we flow with the water till our goals are obtained. Ain't no fools up here in Liverpool. Popping in your dreams in a vivid array. When I look to my future, the city's where I stay. I'm a dandelion in the wind, blow me away. Liverpool will never fade. Never fade. We sit on a higher plane. Sit on a higher plane. And our spirits last through time. Last through time. That's why Scousers never die. Justice for the 96, seeking a total eclipse of the sun. We won't stop until the undone. Murder your goblin, go and choke on a dick. I heard the graves waiting for you, go and jump in it quick. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Can you hear that you're burning in the belly of hell? Murder, hope you're ready, cause you know you're going as well. But that's only if the devil can withstand the smell. Ain't no fools up here in Liverpool. Merseyside forever, let the river lead the way. The river's in our blood till the river dries away. And we flow with the water till our goals are obtained. Ain't no fools up here in Liverpool. Popping in your dreams in a vivid array. When I look to my future, the city's where I'll stay. I'm a dandelion in the wind, blow me away. Liverpool, you saved my life, and no matter where I go, you will always be home. You're the sunlight for my growth and the marrow in my bones. Carry you within my genome. For an artist, you provide a throne. Ain't no fools up here in Liverpool. Popping in your dreams in a vivid array. When I look to my future, the city's where I stay. I'm a dandelion in the wind, blow me away.
And then it fades out and it's all lovely. Woo! Amazing. I obviously love that song because it all resonates with me as a Scouser and as a woman as well. But aside from that, it's like what you said, you know, you weren't born in Liverpool, but it is where your home is. It's where your heart is. And I think, you know, we've all got friends who are honorary Scousers. And that is, you know, it's when your affiliation to Liverpool is just the same. Do you know what I mean? And everyone has a warm place. I've got so many friends who have moved away from Liverpool and they talk about it so warmly. I just know that if they heard that song, it'd kind of be on their top 10 listen to, you know, nostalgias. So well done. You've really got it nail on the head with the love letter to Liverpool. And I love all of the songs that we've previewed. Fantastic. Well done.
So just to give you just a heads up on the future, so that was a rough copy of the eggplant video. It's not quite finished yet. There's some finishing touches to do, but that will be dropping on Saturday.
Amazing.
And that'll be going live on the Ask Groupie website on that day. And the album, there's been a slight delay to the release, just getting clearance for some of the songs, but they're all cleared now, and the album will be hitting stores June 2nd.
That is so exciting. Hitting stores, woo! So yeah, I mean, if you all want to keep updated with what Mikey is up to, or Art Groupie, please do keep following everything that we're doing on social media and our website, which is updated regularly. And yeah, you'll be able to watch Mikey's video from Saturday. Woohoo! Shall we move on to any questions? And just before we do, if there's anyone that has to leave for whatever reason, don't feel like you're being rude. You can happily just skip away.
Exit to the gift shop.
If you want to stay, yeah, exit through the gift shop. Yeah, if you want to stay and hang around, we are happy to take many a question. So yeah, John, do you want to?
Brilliant. So how we're going to do this, and like Samantha said, if you do want to leave, that there's no pressure to stay on. But I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank Mikey and Samantha for this evening. I'm sure I speak for everyone, but it's been really enjoyable, a real insight. And, you know, I've heard the album in its many, many different formats, and it is a wonderful piece of work. You know, politics and body image and modern life all blended together in an anarchic, well-crafted and beautifully produced piece of music. And it's great because it's got really hookable beats, and you'll find yourself listening to it, singing along to it, and it has a punch behind it. So yeah, it's a great piece, and it will be premiering on the Arts Groupie website at the weekend, the video. So if anyone has any questions, and like I say, if anyone does need to leave, that's fine. But if anyone does have any questions, please raise your hand, and I will unmute you. So Muriel Box, I am unmuting you.
Thank you. Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Major Tom.
Oh, good. I just wanted to ask you, Mikey, by the way, I thought that was brilliant. I really enjoyed the whole thing. And the story behind your personal, authentic story behind all of those songs and everything, really bring it to life in a very particular way. Excellent, really good. I wanted to ask you though about the title. Well, how did you come to choose the title, Who's Afraid of Mikey Garland?
Originally I was going to call it Whatever Happened to Mikey Garland. It just from the film title, just this idea of I'd given up on being that person when I was in the hostel, and then, you know, whatever happened to that. But I changed it to Who's Afraid of Mikey Garland. If you've ever seen Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, it's this couple goes to dinner with another couple, and they get dragged into this horrible, think they're going to have a lovely dinner, and they get dragged into this horrible feud between a husband and wife. And I feel like that with this album, when you see the title and you see the image and it's looking kind of sexy and hot, but when you go in, you get dragged into this underbelly of politics and homelessness. I felt that had the same kind of feel.
Yeah, really good.
Great title too. Thank you.
All good. Oh, James Broad, I'm going to unmute you, sir. Yeah, let's see. Good out. Oh.
Yep.
I think you're both doing it at the same time.
Sorry, is that all right? Can you hear me?
That's great.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Sorry, all right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, nice one for that, Mikey. I really enjoyed it, mate, and the song sound boss. I wanted to ask you a little bit about, you said you've been writing the album since like 2017. So obviously over a period of what's that, like 4 years or so?
Yeah.
Like people go through all kinds of different experiences, etc. And I'm sure obviously the album sounds like it comes from a real place of personal experience. So I was just wondering if you could tell us a little bit about sort of, you know, your journey from initially starting to write the songs to now, and whether, you know, sort of you've changed over time and how connected you feel. Oh, sorry, did the cut off there? Yeah, whether you've changed over time and how connected you feel to the music now, sort of comparing yourself as you are today to that lad in 2017 who started writing the music.
Oh, so that's a great one. So how this process began is that I was just desperate to, because I've always wanted to do this. I've always wanted to record an album, and sort of recorded bits and bobs. But obviously, when you haven't got the equipment, it just sounds shit, doesn't it? It just no good. So I wasn't prepared to put anything out unless I had the proper equipment, because I didn't want to be remembered for sort of amateur stuff. So first of all, it was just seeking out the beats. So there's thousands and thousands of beat makers out there, and was listening. I found a lot of them. I felt very aware that I was listening to a computer generated beat. But with these two producers, I really thought they understood music. The sonic detail of the songs is really amazing. So that's where I began. And just from listening, I knew whether I could rap to the beat, and usually it was just the hook and I had a couple of beats in mind, and I just had a hook in mind, and a lot of those hooks are on the album. And I just stuck with it. And then I was really worried that someone was going to snap up the beats that I was on before I'd get there, but they were still available when I got them. And just writing bits and pieces, what I wrote from for uni, I just used that and I built on it. Obviously, having been thinking about it for so long, that made the writing part of it a little bit easier. As for how I feel about it, I mean, how I've sort of survived that experience is just, you know, I can live in the present, and I know that I'm not in that situation anymore, and I feel really detached. That feels like almost otherworldly.
Yeah,
I feel very separated from that experience to who I am now. And so I can sort of, as I was going there, I mean, it was hard sort of going back to that place and exploring that through the lyrics. Yeah, I had to really think about, you know, what I had to remember what it was like, which is not an easy thing to open yourself up to. But I found it, you know, I'm really glad I got it on, because hopefully if it will reach the ears of someone who's going through something similar, and they know that there's a possible hope of bettering yourself.
Yeah. Oh, nice one, mate. Thank you, and congratulations on it. It sounds brilliant.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so I have a question.
Go on then.
What would you say? This is hard. It's like asking your favorite kid. What is there a title, a song on the album that you would say is your most favorite, or the one that you're more favorable with?
I think it's the Daydream one. It's just when I heard it for the first time, I was like, this is so different, this beat. I just love the way it was produced, and also just the way it turned out. It's not filled with lyrics. Like I feel like sometimes when I was approaching some of the songs, you want to fill it from beginning to end with content, but with that one I felt a lot more free to just let the beat carry the vibe. And I just love it. I think that was the one I was really like, you know, making any kind of work, you kind of trying to be objective and listen to it and see, is this actually good, or is it really pants? That's quite hard. But that was the one song I thought, actually, I really like that.
Yeah, I think when you find yourself listening to something and thinking, God, I can almost forget that this is me, I'd just listen to this, you know, if it was on the radio. I think that definitely gave me that vibe. Like if I heard those little drums, I'd be getting my groove on in the car. So
I think Maura's got her hand raised there.
Maura, okay?
Hi, Mikey. Thanks so much. That was amazing to see it brought to life like that. It was really, really good. And thanks, Sam, for your brilliant questions as well. Mikey, you were saying that, you know, it feels like a different person that you're talking about in most of the songs. Do you think writing them sort of made that happen? Or do you feel like, in other words, kind of catharsis, or do you feel like you had to be further away from the experience to write about it?
I mean, it's a little bit of both. I mean, it was cathartic, it was closure, it was like that part of my life is finally over. And I think that whole thing, you know, I've been wanting to be in music since I was really, really small and wanted to be on stage, and to finally be in this place where I could actually record the album, and also be in a place in my life where I was doing well and being successful. All of those things come together all at once was really like closure, and I could finally put that to bed and say, you know, now I can just look forward to what I write next, where I go next. So, you know, I'm just really grateful for the chance to have made this, and the chance to have, you know, lifted myself out of where I was.
Do you think there's just small follow-up? Yes. Do you think there's like unfinished business from that period? Are you going to move on artistically, do you think?
Well, unfinished business in the sense of, you know, this is still happening to other people. And it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable that in one of the richest nations of the world, we have people living in poverty. It's just inexcusable. And that's something I will continue to explore in music and through any work that I do.
Brilliant. No holds barred.
Well, I feel very privileged that we've had this like almost intimate kind of record party listening to it. And probably, hopefully, it might be one of the last Zoom things that we have to do. You know,
I know, last time that I'm wearing joggy pants and a real top.
No more Donald ducking, Samantha. Those of you who don't know, Donald ducking.
My room.
Donald ducking is where you wear nothing underneath,
pants,
but just a nice shirt on top. So there we are.
I wouldn't have stood up if I weren't wearing pants, John.
You forget. Yeah.
Is there any more questions for Mikey before?
No, I think we're all good. I think it's been a wonderful experience, and thank you all. Yeah, enjoy the rest of your evening, and do check out artsgroupie.org for our future projects. We've got all kinds coming up. We've got walking tours, heritage walking tours. Samantha's going to be dressing up as Kitty Wilkinson next Sunday, and we're going to be parading around the city centre where her statue, Kitty Wilkinson's statue, comes alive to take us back to Victorian Liverpool. And we're doing some. We've just got Arts Council funding for a play called The Liver Bird, which is going to be a children's play. Samantha's going to be in as well. She's going to be the liver bird. No, I'm just joking. We're doing that in the parks, Norris Green, Walton Hall, and Court A Park. Parks that don't really get the attention they deserve, because we've got lots of going on in Calderstones and Sefton Park, but ironically, the parks that are by the areas that need to see theatre don't get the resources. But hopefully, we're going to make a change and start turning the tables a little bit. So yeah. Anyway.
Yes. Last little thing, and I haven't got permission to do this, but guys, when we are sharing the Mikey Garland stuff, it would be amazing to get some shares and that kind of support as well, and really push this album, and hopefully, got a cat on me, hopefully really get this somewhere, because you know it really deserves it. It's fantastic. It just is so good, and I just did not expect it to be so whoa. Like, it needs to go somewhere. So yeah, if you can.
Well, I was going to ask, but we ran out of time, about, you know, whether you've got somebody promoting you as an agent, you know, because people have BBC introducing, things like that. I wonder, you know, is that something like a spin-off from the Arts Council? Have you got?
Well, my plan is to enter this into the Mercury Prize. That's one of the things we're going to do. So I'll be entering it into that, also into the National Songwriting Contest. If you win one of the categories, you get good press, and if you win the whole overall prize, you get to go to Abbey Road to record, and you also get to inducted for free into the Songwriters Guild. So I'm going to promote it in any way I can by just putting it out there in those ways, but I'm not represented by anyone as such. It's been released through Arts Groupie.
Yeah, so we'll be pushing it like crazy for the next 6 months, and hopefully as well there'll be live gigs and a possible theatre show as well, spinning off. But that's in the future. That's in the
long run.
That's the long run, yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I mean, I really think your video is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. It's so professional.
Yeah.
And you know, and I think opportunities through multimedia platforms, you know, are the way to go. So yeah, superb.
That's
well done, Mikey. Well done. Brilliant.
Yeah, really well done.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, well, shall we all say good night? And remember, like, share when the video comes out. We'll make it number one.
We will. We're going to get you to number one.
Okay.
And thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And thank you for
Thank you,
watching.
Sam. Thank you, John.
No worries. Thank you all. Thank
Really
you all
good.
for coming. Lovely to meet you all.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
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 Hello, everyone. Oh, I'm just going to stop recording.